All right, boys and girls, I'm going to show you an easy way to compare fractions. I wish I'd learned this growing up. I'm on page 201 of your math expressions book. When you are comparing fractions, you're trying to see which one is bigger. Just like we do with regular whole numbers, we're going to do the same thing with our fractions. There's a trick that I have learned, and I'd like to share it with you. So let's look at number 11. We're trying to decide, is 1/6 greater than or less than 1/8? You've got your bars up here, and you can definitely look and see that 1/6 right here, sorry, mine aren't in color, and 1/8, you can see that 1/6 is bigger. Usually when the denominator is a smaller number than this number, it means that it is actually bigger, because that means that you have a bigger size piece than if I have to cut something into eighths. So think about a pizza. Would you rather have 8 little slices or 6 where you've got bigger pieces? So most people would say they'd want 6 of the bigger pieces instead of 8 skinnier ones. The same thing is true with fractions. Okay? But there's another trick that you can do, and that's called cross multiplying. And that means that I'm going to make what looks like a butterfly, and I'm going to cross over and multiply my numbers. So I'm going to do 1 times 8, and the answer I'm going to write above this fraction. 1 times 8 is 8. 6 times 1 is 6. I now have 2 whole numbers at the top, and I can easily see which whole number is bigger. The 8 is bigger, so that means that I am going to eat my bigger number. Okay? Let's look at number 12. 1/5 versus 1/3. I can go look up here, but I don't always remember this, especially when at the spur of the moment I need to know this. I don't get to pull out my math book and look it up. So I'm going to use my butterfly trick. Cross multiply 1 times 3, write it above the first fraction. Cross multiply 1 times 5, write that above the second fraction. So which one's bigger? 1/5 with a 3 or 1/3 with a 5? Right away, I know 1/3 is bigger than 1/5. Number 13. 1/10 versus 1/12. If I cross multiply, I've got 1 times 12 and 10 times 1. 12 is bigger than 10, so I'm going to eat 1/10. What if it's not always 1 on top? What do I do then? Well, let's look at a couple more problems. In your math books, turn to page 246. Now that I've gotten away from the 1 in my numerator, these are a little bit more tricky to figure out. So I'm trying to figure out 3/5 and 2/3. Which one's bigger? If I do my butterfly method, I have 3 times 3, which is 9, and 5 times 2, which is 10. So even though my numerator on this side is bigger than the numerator on this side, this fraction on the right side is actually bigger. Okay, look at number 11. 3/4 and 8/10. If I cross multiply, 10 times 3 is 30. 8 times 4 is 32. Again, I'm going to eat my bigger number, which is 8/10. Number 13. 5/8 versus 3/5. Multiply, I get 25. Multiply, oh, look at this, how close these two are. So just eyeballing these two to figure out which one's bigger. This side is 25, this side is 24. 5/8 is just barely bigger than 3/5. And if you were to do decimals and actually divide and find the decimals, they would just be a couple decimals off. Go ahead and now take your time and go through 10, 12, and 14, trying this method on your own. Good luck!